name is Jasmin Park, 박세인, and I'm a junior at Seoul International School. I haven't spoken in front of a lot of people, so I'm very nervous, but I'm also very excited. So today, I would like to start off with a question. Okay. Well, I'll just ask you the question. How many people do you think in Korea married with a foreign person and is having a family? What percent do you think they take? Any answers? 2%? Less than 1? Okay, well. As of 2005, we had about 2.5%. 2.5% of the Korean population were multiracial families. But this number is expected to grow consistently, and it will reach by 2020 at least 25%, and at most 49%. 49%, that means that is half of Korea's population. Half. But there is a problem in this. And the problem lies in the fact that the Korean society is not yet ready to accept these multiracial families. Now, a lot of organizations have worked to resolve this problem, to make them have a better life. But the majority of Koreans are still not ready to face this problem and to confront it. Now, as for myself, I confronted this issue and I woke up at this issue because of my mother and also through my own experience. And so this summer, I was able to establish the Pearl Buck Student Association, which is a branch out of the Pearl Buck International. Now, before I start talking about this organization, I would like to start out with the utmost influential figure in my life, my mother. Now, my mother was born between a Korean mother and an American father. Now, when this happened, in her childhood, she had to go through a lot of discrimination, more than what it is right now. Now, take this for example. Let's say you are in Africa, and there was an African tribe full of African people, and then one day, a Caucasian kid is born. What? And then, in a town where they were all Caucasians, a black kid was born. Or just take this. Maybe you have heard the story of the ugly duckling. 미운 오리 새끼 이야기 아세요? 그게 현실이 된 거예요. That became reality. Now, my mom therefore had to go through so much. And even as a little child, she had to go through all these prejudice. But she couldn't let go of her hopes and dreams. Why? Because she had to support her family. Because she had to support her mother and her sister. And in this day, she got an offer of singing. And whether or not she wanted to sing or she didn't want to sing, it didn't matter if she had talent or not. She had to do it because it was a matter of life and death. She had to do it to maintain her family. So she did. So she stepped into the entertainment business. But even in that entertainment business, she was faced with discrimination. I'll tell you some examples. Now, my mom has curly hair. So when this grows out, it becomes a kind of afro, a kind of 폭탄머리. So when this happens, right now, it's like fashion. But at that time, it was unacceptable. It could not be televised. So if you look at all the videos of when she was in her 20s, her hair is really short, or she has a hat on. That was because she had a curly hair. And take this for example. She also went into an international singing competition, but she wasn't eligible. Why? No, not because of her vocal skills, not because she couldn't sing, but because of her appearance. Because she didn't look Korean enough. She couldn't represent Korea. So after getting this discrimination and prejudice, she knew that she had to work 100 times, 1,000 times harder than anyone else in this business. And she did. She went out and she went through all the performances of various artists. And she looked at them, researched them, and she applied it to herself. She used them in her performances and her concerts, and it shined. She now has a successful career, a singing career, for over 30 years. Yes, 30 years. And she has also got the title of the Madonna of Korea, or a national singer, someone who can represent Korea. Now, question. Is there anyone who can guess who my mom is? That's right. My mom is Insuni. And I learned a lot from my mom. My mom taught me two very important things. The first being that every situation has a challenge, and that challenge has to be met, and it has to be overcome. And the second, that discrimination is something that should not exist, something that is just unjustifiable. But as we all know, when we are a little child, these deep thoughts don't come in. So I couldn't understand what she was saying until I actually felt it. And I felt this in a camp when I was in 6th grade when I went to the US. And I was so very excited because I was so excited to meet people from all over the world. Because in Korea, I can only meet Koreans, at least in my school. So you can see from these pictures, I had a lot of fun. I had some dances, I had class, and I played with my girls. But there were some problems that I saw. Every time I came back from the classes to the dorm, the Asians were with Asians and the Westerners were with Westerners. Every time I came back to my dorm, I was playing with my 2 Chinese friends, and the other Westerners were in their own room. And when I went into those Westerners' room, they looked at me as if I was an alien. And I couldn't understand that treatment. And I was astonished that something I had learned from school, something I had read about, was actually in reality. And so I had to talk about this. So we all gathered around and we started talking. And yes, gradually, we started to understand each other. And when we understood each other, I had the most significant memories that I will never, ever forget in my life. That summer is a summer that I will never forget. Now, you can see that these 2 case studies have both a success. My mother succeeded in her life. She overcame all the hardships to become almost, as I call her, the #1 singer of Korea. As for me, I challenged myself. I confronted them, and I was able to have success in my own life and to have a significant memory. And I thought, can I apply this anywhere? And then I thought, yes, I can. I can apply this to the multiracial children and families who are in Korea. And that's how I got to the Pearlbuck Student Association. Now, before I talk about the Pearlbuck Student Association, let me just give you a little bit of a background information of Pearlbuck International. So Pearlbuck International, 펄벅재단, is an organization where they used to help only kids from Korean mothers, and American fathers, and they helped in terms of health and education. But now they broaden their extent, and now they help all kinds of multiracial families from a mix of Korea and Japan, Korea and Philippines, and a lot more. Now, coming back to the Student Association, when I first started, I had a small goal of giving at least a speck of hope and happiness to these multiracial families and children. And as I got talking with other people, I noticed that maybe it can be bigger. Maybe it can have a bigger influence. Maybe I can open people's views and their eyes, just like I did, the views of the students. And so I started to realize that, like everyone knows, we are in a global world. We are all about globalization. So, we need to view these multiracial children not as different and bad, but as them having an advantage. They know 2 distinct languages or even more, and they also are a part of 2 different cultures or even more. And that itself is an advantage. They are the leaders who are going to step up in our world. And second, I also realized that we need to know that they are global citizens as well. We are all a part of the citizens of the globe. We live on Earth. We're all together. So we need to see them as not just multiracial children, but as global citizens. So as I learned this, I learned that the Student Association can spread 2 very important ideas. The first being that they are not different from us. They are not. These children have the same interests as us. We like idol stars, we like all these television shows, we like shopping, they're all the same. In a sense, our whole world has only one race. And what race is that? The human race. That's the only race we have. There is no difference. Now, the second thought that we would like to spread is that they deserve the respect that everyone in this room gets. They deserve the respect that they got when they were born. And so, this student association strives to do this by this structure, by having a kind of network. Right as of now, we have students who represent their schools in America, China, and Korea. And these students will work to campaign that multiracial children are equal to us. And they will also take part in events and fundraising events to get the money, get donations. And yearly, this money will be sent to the Korea Pearl S. Buck organization, and it will be used in their HELP program, which helps them in terms of health, education, lifestyle, and psychosocial aspects. Now, my small hope is that we will start to understand, at least start to understand their challenges and their pain and their suffering that they're going through because of discrimination. And I also hope that we will see this difference as something we look down upon, but something that they can have pride in, something that they can proudly say that I know 2 languages and I am a part of 2 different cultures. I know that this might sound kind of complicated and hard, but it's really not. If you start to just take small little steps, it will work. And so please remember that we should take small steps to get to that, to get to an equal world, to get to a world where there is only one human race. We need to acknowledge, accept, and appreciate. 다문화 가정, 그들은 저희와 다르지 않습니다. 그리고 그런 생각을 의식을 하고 나아갈 미래에서 저희가 다 함께하길 희망합니다. 감사합니다.